Thanks very much for taking the time to join us today to talk about the Waterfront revitalization. I've heard some really great things about this one, so I'm looking forward to hearing you talk about the project.
Thank you, Dale. The pronunciation of my last name is Schlesinger, and so it's Gerald Schlesinger. I know a lot of people have difficulty pronouncing that, but over time you get used to it.
Same as my last name, so there we go.
So the City of Mission has been talking about revitalizing its waterfront for over 30 years. And it was about 2 years ago that the project got off in earnest with a direction from Council Resolution to begin. And it's at the same time that the COVID lockdowns happened, basically 2 years ago from today. And so in public engagement and in land use planning and that discussion with landowners on economic development in the waterfront, we were facing a challenge in terms of how do we engage in people when in the past we were so used to having person-to-person meetings, group settings, and things like that. So we had this challenge of engaging in the community and switching from our normal process of one-on-one person meetings, creating public open house events with large gatherings, or visiting locations in order to talk about specifically the project, to move that into a protocol where there were heavy concerns on health, and the success of the waterfront revitalization plan was dependent on that. So the focus was on developing sorry about that, I just focusing on creating a web page that included all sort of activities to reach differences in literacy levels, differences in interests, and differences in sort of the demographics of the community. The standard page was, as you find in most communities, it had some narrative on backgrounds with links in terms of how to connect and things of that nature. We provided mapping of the area, and the area in itself composes of roughly 300 acres, stretching from the east end to the west end, roughly 3.5 kilometers, including the Mission Raceway, lands either side of the Mission Bridge, and the lands basically to the east of the CPR Bridge over the Fraser. As a part of this plan, we had to find out ways to engage people. So we had a number of surveys available. We opened up news feeds, and we had a ongoing, or still have an ongoing, question and answer session for people to engage with. The main focus of the plan was to create new jobs within the City of Mission, because currently roughly 2/3 of the population commute outside the community. So the focus on industrial lands within the city was a key employment, or our key initiative. The website includes not only access to the council reports and things like that we post on the property, but also some of the issues with respect to news media releases, and a series of 7 videos that people can attend to and watch at their leisure, at their own pace, and without having to actually schedule their daytime in order to participate. The website is open 24/7, and there's a high level of engagement and activities that can be undertaken as part of the overall development. And this website that we created is in addition to the normal public social media platforms that are also active, and we have those also going on. But one of the particular things that in terms of the diversity of the material that we included was interactive mapping, and a number of graphics are displayed to help people envision the future. We provided the contact information for those who wanted to subscribe and stay informed as to what was happening, and provided a listing of the various activities and timelines as we were going along. Oops. We also gave credit to our consulting team, so people could contact them directly and find out where they were coming from and what that was about, and scheduled a series of land use plans on the website so people could see how the plan was progressing over time. The website includes a number of survey questions, and one aspect of that survey question is you can either identify yourself or go anonymous. And the other aspect, which is not visible, but which we can share with our participants, is the system that was created automatically tallies the sort of responses we get to the questions that we ask, so we can sort of rank them and provide sort of a graphic display as to how that unfolds, both in terms of things like ages, the demographic of the participants, as well as the nature of the questions that got responses to. Overall, the community is looking basically to a 40-year plan to develop in the future. We're hoping that things will get underway in earnest in about 2 years' time. Activities are happening right now in the land in terms of flood protection. We recently expanded the sewer line across the Fraser to the Abbotsford water treatment plant. And as part of that project, we got a lot of sand to help fill lands that were below the flood protection level as part of the overall economic development plan for the area. Overall, the activity in terms of numbers, these are the early numbers that we have in terms of 2,600 visitors back at the end of the last calendar year. And we're currently engaged in our phase 3 public engagement practice right now. And to date, we've had over 6,000 people add on to that sort of engagement, looking at our website and seeing actually what's happening. The website also includes a number of interactive sort of maps where you can click on certain key points, features in there, and that will then bring you to another narrative as to what is happening and meant to happen in those areas. There's also some technical information in terms of things of how we're going to address sound attenuation and with respect to some of the concerns of sound emanating from the raceway, from the highway, or from the CPR railway tracks running through the area. But overall, the plan is progressing quite well. We're hoping to go to council in July to have it endorsed, but it's a fairly ambitious plan, looking to create about 7,500 new residential units and quite a bit of employment lands to serve the Lower Mainland industrial sector. There's quite a shortage of industrial lands available to employers at this point in time. So our partnership with the City of Mission and O2 Planning and Design out of Calgary has been relatively active. The feedback has been good right now. One of the lessons learned, even though this has been a very successful aspect of engaging people in the land use planning process and getting feedback, we still find that in-person communications are best in terms of finding out what people think, to have that dialogue with them. And online, we've had a few dialogues, but most people are still not that familiar with a lot of the online activities. We found that to be a bit of a challenge. And the other aspect that we've tuned into is that when we engage in this sort of reporting online, people, some of the ethnic groups in our community can tune in and have those documents translated by Google Translate. So they are also involved as part of the overall process in developing our waterfront revitalization plan. So thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Gerald. It definitely quite an ambitious plan, and I'm glad you added that sort of what you learned and about that engagement process. I really think that in person definitely helps. Despite all of the best efforts of any municipality in their engagement process, it seems like there's people that just won't do it anyways. They won't engage with you, they'll engage with the public through Facebook or other modes. But I do think that in-person stuff is really, really useful, especially when it comes to business engagement. So thanks very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Project.